Prime Minister announces recrafted COVID-19 protocols, launches National Hurricane Preparedness Campaign, and renames Denhamtown Primary to the Edward Seaga Primary School. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Vaughn Davis.
We must not leave any Jamaican youth vulnerable to be recruited into a gang or their life chances disrupted or denied because they did not have the institutional support at that critical point in their life cycle.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness expressing his commitment to unattached youth. Through the Jamaica National Service Corps, JNSC, government plans to increase its engagement with youngsters. On Friday, 260 of them, representing the JNSC's 9th intake, graduated after year-long training administered by the Jamaica Defence Force. Friday also saw the Prime Minister in Denhamtown for a renaming ceremony.
It gives me great pleasure to officially rename the Denhamtown Primary and Infant the Edward Seaga Primary and Infant School, in honor of one of the founding fathers of our nation, a visionary and courageous leader and statesman who made it his life's work to improve the conditions of the masses.
While at the function, Mr. Holness received the news that the Caribbean would be part of the United States government's strategy to distribute 25 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines globally.
We are hopeful that Jamaica will get a significant share of the allotment for the region. We welcome it and appreciate it as a continuing example for rich countries who have surpluses to make them available right across the world, right across the globe. Not necessarily entirely by grant, but certainly available for purchase. Jamaica has put aside the fiscal resources to purchase the vaccines that we need. So we welcome grants, but we also want equitable access.
In Parliament Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness unveiled the state's recrafted COVID-19 protocols. The measures will cover the period June 3 to 30. Weekday curfew hours now begin at 9 p.m. and Saturday has shifted to 8 p.m., while the Sunday curfew remains at 2 p.m. All beaches and rivers are now open to the public, with no more than 10 persons to a group. The gathering limit for churches, weddings, and government functions have been increased. Memorial services are now treated as regular church services, while the public gathering limit remains at 10. Stay-at-home orders for persons 60 and over remain in effect, with fully vaccinated individuals in that group now exempt. The work-from-home arrangements in the public sector also remains in place. Existing orders governing markets, funerals, burials, places of entertainment, and transportation remain unchanged.
The government is cognizant of the devastating impact that the pandemic has had on the entertainment industry and the large number of persons who depend on the industry for their livelihoods. We are engaged in discussions with the industry with a view to agreeing the appropriate protocols that could facilitate a limited reopening of the industry in the summer.
Fully vaccinated persons entering Jamaica will now be required to quarantine for 8 days instead of the 14 days previously mandated. However, Prime Minister Holness says a negative coronavirus test is still required for entry to the island, and the travel ban under the Controlled Re-Entry Program was also updated.
Given concerns about more transmissibility of variant strains of the virus, the travel restrictions for South American countries, Brazil, Chile, Peru, Colombia, Argentina, and Paraguay, as well as for India and Trinidad and Tobago, is also being extended until June 30th, 2021.
The Prime Minister has renewed his call for persons to be vaccinated against COVID-19.
I am encouraging all the persons who are on the priority list. If you have not yet gotten your first dose, please go and get your first dose. If you have gotten your first dose,
make arrangements to get your second dose of vaccine.
The priority group includes persons over 50, the security forces, healthcare workers, Department of Correctional Services, PICA, Jamaica Fire Brigade, and teachers. So far, over 155,000 Jamaicans have received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, while 22,000 persons have taken their second shot. Earlier in the week, the Prime Minister was on hand to break ground for a $7 billion investment in Kingston. The 14-story residential complex, dubbed the Residences at Terra Nova off Waterloo Road, will be ready in 2 years' time. 400 jobs are to be created during the construction phase, with hundreds more anticipated upon completion.
The objective of this new expansion is to fulfill the growing demand for additional accommodation to complement and boost Kingston's tourism offerings.
And on Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness launched the island's National Hurricane Preparedness Campaign under the theme Hurricane Readiness in Trying Times. He directed the National Disaster Committee to prioritize shelter operations and readiness, the cleaning of drain infrastructure, as well as ramping up public education and awareness.
Like we have done successfully in the past year, our strategy must be to anticipate, plan, and prepare for the threat, not to panic if or when it materializes.
And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.